everybody at Star Singer. I'm coming in with another transmission tonight on January 30th for this full moon. And we know that the moon, the full moon, is not real. The moon is not real. Well, it's real, but it's a piece of Malbec, and it's used to create distortions. Let's just put it that way. So this is the download I was getting about the moon and all the planets. So apparently 3i Atlas has sent a message, and it's been encrypted and encoded by NASA and some other scientists. Apparently 3i Atlas has said that they have put a quarantine around the whole Earth and the whole universe that the Earth is in, for other beings' safety out there in the galaxy. It's something like that. You'll have to watch it. But apparently this is the message that they encoded that 3i Atlas was saying. This message is, I believe, if they're a benevolent race, 3i Atlas, the ETs that are driving that ship, then they've done it because of nuclear weapons and the misuse and abuse of power right now on the Earth, and the aggravation of all these wars. But governments all over the world make money on wars, right? So we go back to that money thing, the greed thing. So, it was interesting to find that out, because it also goes along with my theory about the simulation and, why I brought the QFT in. And all the frequencies and the plasma beams from the QFT come from outside of the simulation. So they literally come from outside of the quarantine, which is very interesting. Because if in fact this extraterrestrial civilization, whoever they are that are driving the 3i Atlas, if they have in fact put a quarantine on Earth and this universe, then that means that the QFT still has access to beyond the quarantine, because it comes from beyond the simulation. So literally, they've put a quarantine on the simulation. And the reason being is that the simulation is out of control. And those beings that created the simulation even are out of control. And this is being talked about quite a lot on the internet right now, so I wanted to talk about it a bit, just from my lens, and share with you a little bit of my perspective, because I've been working with the lineage of Sophia intuitively for many, many years. And I brought through the Stargate opening seals, which are that use 72 names of God from the Shem HaMephorash. And I basically channeled that whole series in, not being, well, I actually found out that I'm 1% Jewish because my aunt did our family tree. So I guess I am a little bit Jewish, but not knowing Hebrew, or, to be able to bring something like that in. There's been a lot of people that have been like, whoa, you brought this in and you're not Jewish, you don't even speak Hebrew or anything. And I'm like, no, I do believe I carry codes from Sophia, though. There's a lot of women who do carry the lineage of Sophia, and her energy is awakening very much on the planet now, as I also foresaw with the Seven Sisters prophecy, which is about the divine feminine principle awakening all over the planet. But this isn't about feminism. Principle is the principle of what the divine feminine represents. So that's also something I wanted to clear up, because principles are different than beliefs or things like that. Principles are the base structure of an energy. It has principles. So the Nag Hammadi scrolls are a big thing that have come up to the surface. Just in the past few months, I've found out about it. But it's interesting because they speak a lot about the Archons, and they name the creator of the Matrix, and his name is Yaldabaoth. And there are also others that he created to help him sustain the Matrix. So, the Matrix is crumbling, and the reason it is crumbling is because of love, and the love that Sophia has for her miscreation. So she basically, the Gnostic scripture story is quite old, and it's a lot, right? But she basically gave birth to Yaldabaoth, who was a mistake, who turned dark and thought he was God, and apparently he's blind as well, and he thought he was God. So Sophia, being the mother of him, I believe her energy is reawakening a lot of the feminine, balanced feminine women on the planet who are in service to the awakening right now. Like, not everybody is aware of the awakening even. They just go to work, come back. But there are many, many, many more people awakening right now, which is a wonderful thing. Because everybody's waking up, and everyone's getting heightened intuition, their gifts are waking up. But I wanted to speak about the Archons, because what's going on in the US is really feeding them. It is really feeding them. So they feed on anger, fear, lower vibrational frequencies of any kind, sexual energy. They harvest it all. So even though all these protests that are going on across the US are good, because people are making a difference, the anger part of it and the lower vibrational part of it is just feeding the beast what he wants, what they want. They want everyone in chaos. They want everyone in confusion. They want everyone doing exactly what they're doing. So, if people step back for a minute and realize that things can be affected by more subtle means, because people have power of the mind, and a lot of these people that are going to these protests, and a lot of these people that are getting angry about what's going on in the US, yes, you have every right to be angry, but at the same time, how do you use that anger in a way that is going to be beneficial and not just be harvested, and then all of a sudden you don't have any energy and you're drained because you've gotten all angry about something that's going on and fed the archons exactly what they want to, that they're just the United States is a huge harvesting ground right now for these lower aeons, lower powers. So I'm an extremely curious person, and I'm highly trained spiritually to travel through dimensions and to other planets, galaxies, and I also take other people to places like Andromeda and a hidden sect of Lemuria that exists in another dimension. So I was curious once I started to activate the monad, because I began to do the monad practices, and then I told some of my close friends to try it, and I felt it immediately because of my connection to, source, basically, because Jesus, Sophia, all these prophets or beings that have walked the earth before, they're emanations of source that have crystallized into form to bring something to earth to help humanity awaken, or help humanity heal, or help humanity come into the fifth world of peace, is what the Hopi call it. And they think that Three-Eye Atlas is that sign. And it is emitting a huge blue beam out the back of it. So the Hopi people, they believe it's the sign of the fifth world of peace coming. But in order for that fifth world of peace to come, we have to break down the matrix, the old system, right? And in order to do that, we have to be discerning on what we're doing with our energy, what's happening, how we're handling our emotional intelligence. And yesterday in the video I spoke about religion. I'm a very religious person. I've studied over 7 religions, but when I was speaking about it yesterday, I was in a bit of a heightened vibrational state, so I was like, never mind religion. So I wanted to speak on that as well. Pieces of the religions are gems, but it was all manipulated. Even in Egypt, if you study the Metu Neter, Volume 1, the Metu Neter will tell you the exact original names of those gods and goddesses, and all of them are changed. Like the goddess Isis, I don't even say it because it's a manipulation of her real name. Her real name was Auset, Auset. And when you learn the real names of these Egyptian deities that played a powerful role in history, you realize, oh my God, so what have I been invoking all this time? Like there's, temples built to Isis, people teaching under the lineage of Isis, and it's not even really her energy. So what imposter energy are they actually praying to? What entity are they invoking? And this is where spiritual discernment comes in, and really being clear on what it is you're communicating with. So when I said the thing about religion, I believe that everyone knows what science works within them. Like your doctrine is sort of, you're born with it, and you just have to ask, who am I? And listen for the answer. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And listen for the answer. you know, and you will hear, and you will also maybe hear some things trying to interfere with your inner guidance, your inner voice. And then you say, well, that's not me. Well, who are you? Then you question who that voice is, right? Anyway, we teach a lot about that in the Mystic Arts Magic class. If you are interested in coming, we do recommend it. Because Amber holds a really good balance for me. I'm like way out there in the stars, and she's like science down here, connected to the Earth star. Anyway, so where was I? I was talking about the archons and feeding on all this energy that's going on in the US and all around the world, actually. The war energy, it's just feeding them tremendous amounts of energy. So I was going to say how curious I get. So I'm a very curious soul, and I had never heard these teachings from the Nag Hammadi scrolls, so I've been studying them over the past several months. So I decided to go down and meet this Yaldabaoth, and he lives in the center of the earth in a cave. And I said, Yaldabaoth, and I said something about his matrix and what I was going to do with it. And he said, fine, just, your light is too bright, just go away. This is what he said to me. And I said, fine, I'll go away. And then he said, will you help me lift into the light? And you know, with spirits, you gotta be careful, because sometimes they can be tricky. So I've been sitting with the question, and asking my galactic councils how we would dismantle this miscreation of a matrix, of a simulation that has been in place for so long around this universe, this earth. So I was getting this image of a pool table and putting the sun, the earth, putting the sun, the moon, Neptune, Saturn, all the planets that supposedly control the simulation, because they do. They were put in place to control the simulation, to have a direct effect and manipulation power over people. And that is what is called astrology, and people who do all these moon readings and things like that. Yeah, it's accurate completely inside the simulation, but not beyond the simulation. So it's good to know. But I was seeing this vision of a pool table. I'm like, okay, what's messing with everybody right now? Oh, is it Mars? Saturn? Okay, let's line all those planets up on a pool table. And I'm going to stick them all in the pockets with one hit with the pool stick. So just line up that 8 ball right in the middle. That'll be Darchans, and we'll just blast it out in one game of pool. Get all those planets into their places, and then the matrix would break, right? And when the matrix breaks, a great evolution, revolution, spiritual revolution is going to happen. Because behind the matrix, on the other side of the matrix, there's a whole different star system. There's all different universes. On the other side of the star system that we see, right? Beyond the matrix, there's a whole other layer of stars. There's a whole other galaxies and universes, and stars are born every day. There are more stars are born every day. Some stars die in the sky. They do. Just like on Earth, humans, people, right? So that was my idea. I was having this game of pool in my head. This is how curious I am about, okay, so if we decide to lift Yaldabaoth and the 6 others that he created, then the matrix will dissolve and everyone will be free from it and the Archon's control. Because that is what a mother would do. And if Sophia is the mother of the creator of the matrix, then guaranteed she has a plan. Guaranteed she has a plan to how to get this world into the 5th world of peace and out of this destruction. So it's just food for thought. Maybe it's a message for somebody, I don't know, but this is what was going on in my mind today. I was like, let's put all the planets on a pool table, get them in all the holes, break the matrix, see what happens then. Then the Archons will lose power over everybody. They won't be able to harvest people's energy anymore. People will be able to get back to center. But if the matrix breaks, it will cause some disruption. Not saying that I am going to do that or I'm going to call anybody up to do that. I can call somebody up to do that, but not on the physical. These people, this whole system has been in place for a very long time. But it's a control system, right? And the awakening that is happening on Earth right now, and the power that people have the ability to access in their minds, is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And the reason the awakening is happening so rapidly right now for people is because the source wants to show people how powerful they are at this crucial choice point of allowing AI in. How much do we allow AI in? And this is a long transmission. Sorry, everybody. But now I'm going to get to this AI point. There needs to be, I've been saying this since 2023 when I started making these videos. There needs to be heavy restrictions put on AI. If restrictions are not put on AI, and I said in 2023, by 2026, this year, if heavy-duty restrictions are not put on AI, you can say goodbye to humanity as we know it. So, everyone really needs to understand the danger AI poses. Yes, it can be used for good. But it's like anything. It's like anything in the universe can be used for good or bad. It all depends on who is doing it and who is putting in the command. And if we have people like Elon Musk driving the head of the helm, I ain't going on his ship. And I'm sure I'm not alone on that. So, this full moon is fascinating. It's bringing through fascinating information. So, I'm going to go because this video is way too long and I really didn't intend it to be that long. So, peace and blessings, everybody. Aloha, kea kua. Ho ino ino inakapuna.